Get this poorly dressed black man away from our VIP table, now! A couple at table 11 demand the manager remove the black man 2 tables away. Table 13, VIP section, gray hoodie, dirt-stained work boots, reading a menu quietly. Look at what he's wearing, the woman says. Work clothes. He doesn't belong in VIP. We paid $500 per person to not sit near people like that. Her husband stands. Kick him from this section. People dressed like him don't eat at places like this. Other VIP diners watch. Some nod agreement. The general manager appears. Sir, he has a reservation. I don't care. Remove him from VIP or we're leaving. The black man looks up, calm. I have a reservation. Then someone made a mistake seating you here. What this couple doesn't know, what the manager is about to tell them, will make them nearly faint in front of everyone. Stay. Justice is coming. 30 minutes earlier. Brandon Foster pushes open the heavy oak doors of the Sterling room. Work boots against polished marble. The sound echoes through the entrance. Gray hoodie zipped halfway. Faded jeans with actual dirt from his morning inspection of the kitchen renovation 3 blocks away. He built this restaurant, designed the menu, hired the staff, but tonight he's here to see something more important than food quality. He wants to see how his team treats people who don't look rich. The hostess, Mia Thompson, 24, 6 months on the job, greets him with a professional smile. Her eyes flicker down to his boots, up to his hoodie, back to his face. A half-second assessment. She's been trained to notice these things. Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation? Foster, table for 1, 7:30. Mia taps her tablet, finds the name. Her finger hovers over the seating chart for just a moment. Brandon watches her decide. Will she seat the guy in work clothes at the bar? Suggest he'd be more comfortable in the main dining room? She doesn't. She smiles. Right this way, Mr. Foster. She leads him through the main dining room. White tablecloths, soft jazz from hidden speakers, the scent of seared duck and truffle oil. Past families celebrating anniversaries, past couples on first dates, past the velvet rope, subtle, burgundy, expensive, into the VIP section. Tables 10 through 16, elevated 3 steps above the main floor. Better lighting, wider spacing, the quiet confidence of people who believe they've earned their position in this room. Brandon has visited 8 of his restaurants this way over the past year, dressed exactly like this, testing whether his staff see customers or clothes. Most locations passed. 2 didn't. Those managers no longer work for him. Mia seats him at table 13. Corner position. View of the entire restaurant. Your server will be right with you, she says warmly. Brandon settles into the leather chair, opens the menu, studies the duck confit he approved last week, the sommelier's wine pairings, the seasonal risotto his head chef spent 2 months perfecting. Everything feels right. The energy is good. The service flow looks smooth. 2 tables away, Trevor and Vanessa Hayes are finishing their appetizers. Table 11. They've been VIP members for 8 months. Spend approximately $2,000 monthly at Charleston's upscale restaurants. Post reviews on social media. Consider themselves connoisseurs. Trevor wears a custom-tailored suit, Patek Philippe watch, Princeton class ring. He made his money in pharmaceutical sales, drives a BMW, lives in a historic district townhouse. Vanessa, influencer, 32,000 Instagram followers, photographs her tuna tartare from 3 angles. She's wearing more jewelry than most people earn in a month. They represent exactly the clientele Brandon never wanted to attract. A server brings Brandon water, crystal glass, precise placement. Good evening, sir. Can I start you with something from the bar? Water is fine for now, thank you. The server nods and disappears. Professional, polite, no judgment about the hoodie. Brandon makes a mental note. This kid is doing well. He doesn't notice Trevor glance his way. Doesn't see Trevor's eyes narrow at the work boots. Doesn't catch the moment Trevor leans toward his wife and whispers something that makes her look up from her phone. The jazz plays softly. The kitchen sends out plates. Other diners laugh and talk. And Brandon Foster, owner of 8 restaurants, sits peacefully at table 13 for 3 more minutes. Trevor doesn't walk to the hostess stand. He walks directly to table 13. His footsteps are deliberate, loud enough that conversations at nearby tables pause. He stops 5 feet from Brandon's table, stands there waiting to be acknowledged. Brandon looks up from the menu. Excuse me, Trevor says. Not friendly, not polite, just barely civil. I think there's been a mistake. This is the VIP section. Brandon's expression doesn't change. No mistake. I have a reservation. A reservation. Trevor's voice carries contempt. VIP has standards, dress codes. You're in work clothes, work boots, a hoodie. His eyes sweep over Brandon like he's appraising livestock. I'm not sure you understand what VIP means. At table 12, Amy Johnson stops mid-conversation with her date. She's a teacher, mid-40s, has seen enough bullying to recognize it instantly. At table 14, Greg Wilson, insurance adjuster, keeps his phone in his pocket always, feels his hand move toward it instinctively. Something about this feels wrong, feels like it needs to be documented. Brandon sets down his menu, folds his hands on the table. I understand perfectly. I have a reservation for this table. Trevor's face flushes. Then someone made an error seating you here. This section is for... He catches himself. Almost says something he shouldn't. Recalibrates. For guests who meet certain expectations. Vanessa appears at Trevor's shoulder. Honey, what's wrong? This gentleman, Trevor makes the word sound like an insult, is sitting in VIP, in work clothes. Vanessa looks at Brandon. Her expression shifts from confusion to distaste. Oh, I see. She touches Trevor's arm. Maybe we should just get the manager. I'm about to. Trevor raises his voice, not quite shouting, but close. Excuse me, manager, please. Heads turn throughout the VIP section. The main dining room starts to notice. The carefully maintained ambiance, the soft jazz, the intimate conversations cracks. Mia appears, face already flushed with anxiety. Sir, is everything? Get your general manager now. Mia hurries away. Returns 60 seconds later with Justin Clark. Justin is 29. This is his first GM position. 6 months in. Elite service standards trained him personally. 3-day intensive course. Cost the restaurant $8,500. He has a manual on his tablet. Guest profiling matrix, page 47. He references it weekly. Good evening, Justin says, approaching with professional calm. I'm Justin Clark, general manager. How can I help? Trevor doesn't waste time. This man is sitting in VIP, in work clothes. We're VIP members, regular customers. We pay premium prices for a premium experience. This, he gestures at Brandon, is unacceptable. Justin glances at Brandon, at the hoodie, the boots. His mind goes immediately to his training, to the matrix, to the protocols elite service drilled into him. Tier 3 guest, work clothing, casual attire, redirect to appropriate seating. Sir, Justin addresses Brandon, could I speak with you for a moment? Brandon doesn't stand. We can speak here. Justin's jaw tightens slightly. This isn't following the script. The script requires the guest to comply, to recognize their mistake, to accept redirection gracefully. I'd like to offer you an excellent table in our main dining room, Justin says, voice carefully modulated. Same menu, same service, perhaps more suitable for... I'm suitable here. Brandon's voice is quiet, firm. I have a reservation for this table. Trevor makes a noise of frustration. I don't care about his reservation. Look at him. He clearly doesn't belong in a space like this. We paid extra for VIP. That means something. That means we don't have to share this section with people who look like they just left a construction site. At table 12, Amy Johnson's date whispers, is he really saying this? At table 14, Greg Wilson has his phone out now, recording audio, just in case. Something tells him this is going to matter. Justin stands at table 13 with his tablet. On the screen, Elite Service Standards Guest Management System. He taps through to the relocation protocol. Sir, Justin says to Brandon, I apologize for the interruption. However, we've received feedback from our VIP members regarding... He pauses, choosing words carefully. Regarding the atmosphere they've come to expect in this section. Brandon leans back in his chair. The atmosphere. Yes. The Sterling Room maintains certain standards of presentation, our VIP section particularly. It's not personal. It's simply about ensuring all guests have the experience they've paid for. And what experience is that? Justin's tablet has a script for this. He's rehearsed it. An environment of refined dining, where our most valued guests can enjoy their evening in surroundings that reflect the premium nature of their patronage. The words sound professional, polished, completely empty of meaning but full of implications. Trevor hasn't returned to his table. He's still standing near Brandon, arms crossed. What he's trying to say politely is that VIP has standards. You're not meeting them. This isn't personal. It's just reality. Some spaces are for some people. This space isn't for you. At table 10, an older couple in expensive clothing watch silently. The woman looks uncomfortable. The man's face is carefully neutral. They don't intervene. At table 16, two business executives in suits exchange glances. One shakes his head slightly, the other shrugs. Neither speaks up. At table 12, Amy Johnson has had enough. She stands. This is completely inappropriate. The man has a reservation. He's sitting quietly. He hasn't done anything wrong. Trevor turns to her. This doesn't concern you. It concerns everyone here, Amy says. Her voice shakes slightly but holds firm. What you're doing is wrong. You know it's wrong. Trevor's face reddens. I'm protecting the integrity of this establishment. That's what VIP membership means. Standards. Quality. Not letting anyone walk in off the street and... He didn't walk in off the street, Amy interrupts. He has a reservation. You just don't like how he's dressed, or... She pauses, letting the implication hang. Maybe it's not just the clothes. The VIP section goes quiet. That unspoken thing, the thing Trevor's been dancing around, suddenly has space to breathe. Trevor's voice goes cold. I don't appreciate what you're implying. Then stop implying it yourself. Amy sits back down. Her hands are trembling, but her point is made. Justin, caught in the middle of this, tries to regain control. Everyone, please, let's remain calm. He turns back to Brandon. Sir, I'm going to have to insist. For the comfort of all our guests. We have a lovely table available in... No. Brandon's voice cuts through. Simple. Final. I'm comfortable at this table. Justin's professional mask slips for a second. Frustration flickers across his face. His training didn't cover guests who refuse, who don't recognize their place, who don't understand they're making things difficult for everyone. Sir, according to our guest assessment protocols from Elite Service Standards, Brandon's eyes sharpen at that name. Elite Service Standards. Yes, industry-leading hospitality training. They've taught us how to ensure optimal guest placement and satisfaction, and based on their guidelines, I need to respectfully request that you relocate to a more appropriate for who? Brandon's voice is still quiet, but something in his tone makes Justin stop talking. Appropriate based on what criteria? My reservation? My behavior? Or something else? Justin doesn't answer, can't answer, because answering honestly would expose exactly what they're both not saying. Vanessa, still near Trevor, has her phone out again, not filming, just texting rapidly. Brandon sees the screen briefly. She's messaging someone in their social circle. He can guess the content. Trevor checks his watch. Look, we've wasted enough time on this. Justin, you're the manager. Manage. Either he moves or we're leaving. And we'll make sure everyone in Charleston's dining scene knows that the Sterling Room doesn't maintain its standards anymore. It's a threat. Clear and direct. Justin looks at his tablet, looks at Trevor and Vanessa, VIP members, regular customers, $2,000 monthly, positive reviews online. Then looks at Brandon, unknown guest, work clothes, causing a scene. The math seems simple. Sir, Justin says to Brandon, his voice firmer now, I'm going to have to insist. Please gather your things and follow me to your new table. At table 14, Greg Wilson's phone is definitely recording now. He holds it low, audio capturing every word. At table 12, Amy is texting too, to friends, to family, to anyone who might care that this is happening. At table 10, the older couple signals for their check. They want out of this situation, want to pretend they didn't see anything. Brandon looks at Justin, really looks at him, sees a young man doing what he was trained to do, following protocols, following standards, not understanding that standards can be weapons. Justin, Brandon says quietly, do you know who trained you? Justin blinks. Elite Service Standards, I told you. And do you know what they actually taught you? Professional hospitality, guest management, service excellence. No? Brandon stands up. Not aggressive, just done sitting. They taught you how to discriminate with a smile. Claire walks quickly across the VIP section. Her heels click against the hardwood. Every step feels like it takes forever. Mr. Foster? Her voice is uncertain. Is that you? Brandon turns to her. The exhaustion in his face is profound. Hello, Claire. Justin's tablet nearly drops. Mr. Foster! He taps the screen frantically, finds the owner field in the reservation system, sees the name. His stomach drops through the floor. Oh my God. Trevor's face cycles through confusion, realization, and horror in 3 seconds. "Who's Mr. Foster?" Claire turns to him. Her voice is professional but tight. "Mr. Hayes, this is Brandon Foster. He owns the Sterling Room. He owns all 8 restaurants in our group." The silence that follows is absolute. Trevor's face goes from angry red to sickly white. His hand shoots out to grab the edge of table 11. His knees actually buckle, not dramatically but noticeably. He has to steady himself against the table to stay upright. Vanessa's phone slips from her fingers, catches it at the last second. Her hand flies to her mouth. She takes a step backward and her heel catches on the carpet edge. She stumbles, has to grab her own chair. "Oh my God." Barely a whisper. "Oh my God." Justin is frozen. The tablet hangs loose in his hands. His face has drained of all color. "Mr. Foster, I didn't know. I was following the training, the protocols. I thought—" "You thought what?" Brandon's voice is still quiet, still controlled, but it fills the entire section. "That someone in work clothes can't afford to eat here? That's what they trained you to think?" "No, Justin's voice cracks. "Elite Service Standards said we should assess guest compatibility, maintain brand integrity, ensure premium guests have the experience they paid for." "By judging people on their clothes." Brandon doesn't phrase it as a question. "By assuming who belongs and who doesn't based on how they look." Trevor tries to speak. His voice comes out strangled. "We didn't know. If you just said you were the owner." Brandon cuts him off. "Said I was the owner? So then I deserve to sit here? That's your logic? That respect depends on what someone owns instead of being owed to everyone who walks through that door?" Trevor has no response. Neither does Vanessa. At table 12, Amy Johnson's date whispers, "Holy shit." At table 14, Greg Wilson is still recording. His hand shakes slightly. This is the most important audio file he's ever captured. The VIP section is completely silent now. Every table watching, every guest realizing what they've just witnessed. Brandon looks at Claire. "I want every incident report from the past year, every complaint, every guest who was asked to move, every refund processed for guest comfort concerns, on my desk by midnight." Claire nods. "Yes, sir." Brandon looks at Justin. "You're not fired tonight, but we're going to have a very long conversation about where you learned to do this, about every time you've done this, about who taught you to treat people this way." Justin can barely speak. "Yes, sir, I'm so sorry. I thought I was doing my job. I thought—" "You thought wrong." Brandon's voice softens slightly. "But you're not the only one. That's what concerns me." He looks at Trevor and Vanessa. They're both pale, shaking, looking like they want to disappear into the floor. "Mr. and Mrs. Hayes," Brandon says, "I hope you think about tonight, about what you assumed, about what you demanded, about the person you might become if you keep making those assumptions." Trevor's mouth opens, closes, opens again. "I'm sorry." The words sound hollow, empty, the sorry of someone caught, not someone who understands. "Tell that to everyone you've ever judged before knowing their name," Brandon replies. "Tell that to every person you've ever assumed didn't belong somewhere." Trevor and Vanessa gather their things, moving like people in shock. They head for the exit without another word, without looking at anyone. The door closes behind them, and Brandon Foster turns to the rest of the VIP section, to all the silent witnesses. The next morning, Brandon's office, corner suite 3 blocks from the Sterling Room. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Charleston's historic district. Coffee in a simple ceramic mug. And 8 months of incident reports spread across his desk like evidence at a crime scene. January 18th, 2024. 7:15 p.m. Guest, Ramirez family. Party of 4. Issue, requested relocation from window booth, table 7. Reason listed, reservation required for premium seating. Resolution, move to booth in back corner, processed by J. Clark, GM. Brandon pulls security footage from that night. The timestamp shows table 7 empty from 6:30 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. No reservation. The Ramirez family, dressed nicely, celebrating someone's birthday, moved away from the windows because Justin decided they didn't fit there. January 29th, 2024, 8:20 p.m. Guest, Richards, A. Party of 1. Issue, patio seating declined. Reason listed, at capacity. Resolution: guest seated at bar processed by J. Clark, GM. The security footage shows 3 empty patio tables visible from inside. Miss Richards, a black woman in hospital scrubs, clearly coming from a nursing shift, was told the patio was full when it objectively wasn't. February 12, 2024, 6:45 p.m. Guest, Walker, J. Party of 1. Issue: relocated from dining room to bar area. Reason listed: guest comfort concerns. Resolution: guest requested refund. Left establishment processed by J. Clark, GM James Walker, construction worker. Still had visible drywall dust on his work pants. Came in hungry after a 10-hour shift. Was told he'd be more comfortable at the bar. Left without eating. The pattern continues. February through March, 12 incidents total, different guests. Same story, all processed by Justin Clark. All following the same coded language. Guest comfort. Appropriate seating. Establishment standards. All non-white or working-class guests. Claire knocks on Brandon's door. She looks like she hasn't slept. Mr. Foster, I've found the Slack messages. She hands him printouts. Internal staff communications. The kind that were never meant to be seen outside the team. March 2nd, 2024. 2:43 p.m. Justin Clark. Remember elite service training. Assess guest fit before seating premium areas. If you're unsure, ask me first. March 8th, 2024, 7:18 p.m. Server, Mia. Table 9 wants to move to VIP. They don't have VIP reservation. What should I do? Justin Clark. What's their presentation? Mia. Casual, jeans and t-shirts. Justin Clark. Politely suggest VIP is fully reserved tonight. Keep them in main room. March 10th, 2024, 8:52 p.m. Server, Jake. Had a situation. 2 guys wanted patio seating, urban-style clothing, heavy jewelry. Felt off, redirected to bar. Justin Clark, good instinct. That's exactly what Elite taught us. Trust your assessment. Brandon reads urban-style clothing 3 times. The code isn't even subtle. He picks up his phone, makes a call. Charleston Tribune, Sarah Martinez speaking. Miss Martinez, this is Brandon Foster. I own the Sterling Room restaurant. I have a story you need to hear, and I have documentation. Sarah Martinez arrives 90 minutes later. 28 years old. Food critic turned investigative journalist. She built her reputation on restaurant reviews but made her name exposing labor violations in Charleston's hospitality industry. She brings a recorder, a notebook, and the instinct of someone who knows when a story is bigger than it appears. Brandon shows her everything. The incident reports, the Slack messages, the security footage, and the thing that made him call her, the anonymous email. It arrived at 6:48 a.m. Subject line: you need to see what they taught us. Sender: anonymous at protonmail.com. Attachment: PDF. Elite Service Standards Employee Training Manual version 3.2. Copyright 2023. Sarah opens it on Brandon's laptop, scrolls to page 47. Guest Profiling Matrix Tier 1. Premium Seating. Recommended: professional attire, suits, business casual, upscale evening wear. Affluence indicators, jewelry, watches, designer accessories. Confident demeanor, articulate speech. Standard American English accent Tier 2. Standard seating. Appropriate, casual but neat clothing. Moderate spending signals. Polite but reserved demeanor. Tier 3. Redirect alternative seating. Work clothing, athletic wear, urban fashion styles. Heavy accents, non-standard English. Unpredictable behavior patterns. Groups that may disrupt premium ambiance. Sarah's pen stops moving. Urban fashion styles? Keep reading, Brandon says. Page 50. Section title: Maintaining Premium Ambience. Brand integrity requires consistency in guest experience. Premium establishments must preserve the atmosphere their high-value customers expect. When guests present characteristics inconsistent with your brand positioning, gentle redirection protects both the establishment's reputation and the guest's comfort. Script for Tier 3 Guest Management. For your comfort, I'd like to suggest you might prefer our more casual seating area. This section requires a specific dress code. Always frame redirection as serving the guest's best interest. This positions your staff as helpful rather than exclusionary. Sarah looks up. Her voice is carefully controlled. This is a training manual for discrimination. That's what I thought. I needed someone objective to confirm I wasn't misreading it. You're not. Sarah starts photographing pages with her phone. How many restaurants use this training? Claire has that answer. She's been researching all morning. 43 Charleston restaurants, all contracted with elite service standards for staff training. Sarah's eyes widen. 43? Monthly fees range from $7,000 to $10,000, Claire continues. Elite service has been operating in Charleston for 14 months. Basic math. That's approximately $365,000 per month. Over $5 million total, from teaching restaurants how to discriminate without getting sued. Sarah is typing rapidly now. Do you know who owns Elite Service Standards? Brandon pulls up a business license search. Richard Caldwell, 56 years old, former hospitality director at Grandeur Hotels, left that position in 2019. Why'd he leave? That, Brandon says, is something you might want to investigate. Sarah spends the next week doing exactly that. She calls hotels, pulls court records, interviews former employees, and on March 25th, she publishes. Charleston Tribune. Front page online, VIP treatment or VIP discrimination, local restaurants training protocol under fire, by Sarah Martinez. The article includes asterisk security footage from March 15th, Brandon at table 13, Trevor's confrontation, the full scene, asterisk, excerpts from the 12 incident reports, asterisk, screenshots of the Slack messages, asterisk sections from the Elite Service Training Manual, asterisk. Brandon's statement, I built these restaurants to welcome everyone. Someone taught my staff to do the opposite. By midnight, 15,000 views. By morning, CNN picks it up. By noon, 50,000 shares on social media. And in Brandon's inbox at 2:34 p.m., a cease and desist letter from Caldwell and Associates legal team. Subject urgent, legal action required. Date, March 25, 2024. Mr. Foster, our client, Elite Service Standards, LLC, vehemently denies all allegations published in the Charleston Tribune article dated March 25, 2024. The training materials referenced were obtained illegally and taken out of context. They do not represent our company's values or practices. We demand 1. Immediate retraction of all statements to media. 2. Removal of proprietary training materials from public view. 3. Public apology for defamatory claims. Failure to comply within 48 hours will result in legal action seeking damages of no less than $500,000 for defamation, theft of intellectual property, and tortious interference with business relationships. Regards, James Whitmore, Senior Counsel Caldwell and Associates. Brandon forwards it to Sarah. Her response arrives 60 seconds later. Good. They're scared. That means we're on to something. Keep digging. I'll handle the legal threats. The Charleston Tribune's legal team reviews the article. 6 hours of analysis. Their conclusion delivered to the editor at 8:47 p.m. We have documentation for every claim, security footage, business records. Training materials provided by an inside source. We're not retracting anything. The next morning, the Tribune publishes a follow-up. Elite Service Standards, issues legal threat following discrimination expose. The article includes the cease and desist letter in full. Public reaction is immediate. Comments flood in. They're threatening lawsuits instead of addressing the racism. If the training manual was taken out of context, publish the full context. $500,000 in threats, $0 in accountability. Elite Service Standards doesn't back down. They escalate. April 5th. 3 more cease and desist letters delivered by certified mail, to Sarah Martinez personally, to the Charleston Tribune's editor, to Brandon's business address. But there's a 4th letter. This one goes to every restaurant currently under contract with Elite Service Standards. Confidential memorandum. 2. All Elite Service partner establishments. From Richard Caldwell, founder and CEO recent media allegations. Date, April 5, 2024. Dear valued partners, you may have seen recent unfounded accusations against Elite Service Standards in local media. These claims are categorically false and represent a coordinated attack on our company's reputation. Please be advised, all training materials are proprietary and protected by NDA. Any staff member who speaks to media about our methods will be in breach of confidentiality agreements. Such breaches carry financial penalties up to $50,000 per violation. We are pursuing all available legal remedies against those making defamatory statements. We appreciate your continued partnership and trust in our training methodologies. Sincerely, Richard Caldwell. The threat is clear. Talk to the press, lose $50,000. Mia Thompson receives a phone call that afternoon. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Miss Thompson? A man's voice. Professional. Cold. This is James Whitmore from Elite Service Legal Team. We understand you may have been approached by media outlets regarding our training programs. Mia's stomach drops. I haven't. We're calling to remind you of the non-disclosure agreement you signed during your Elite Service orientation. That agreement explicitly prohibits discussing proprietary training methods with any third party. Violation carries significant financial consequences. I didn't sign anything with Elite Service. I work for the Sterling Room. The Sterling Room contracted Elite Service for your training. That makes you bound by our NDA. We trust you'll make the right decision. He hangs up before she can respond. Mia stares at her phone. She's 24, single mother, 2 kids, works at the Sterling Room full-time and picks up weekend shifts at another restaurant. She has $1,700 in savings. Cannot afford a lawyer. Cannot afford to be sued. Cannot afford to be unemployed. She calls Sarah Martinez, crying. I can't testify. I can't go on record. I'm sorry. I have kids. I can't risk $50,000. I can't. Sarah's voice is gentle. I understand. Do what you need to do to protect your family. This isn't on you. 2 other servers make similar calls over the next 48 hours. Jake, the server who redirected guests on Justin's instructions. Rachel, who witnessed the March 15th incident, both too scared to speak publicly. The fear spreads like a virus. Meanwhile, Elite Service makes a different kind of move. They contact the Tribune's advertisers. 3 restaurants. All use Elite Service training. All spend significant money on Tribune ads. The message is subtle but clear. Continued association with inflammatory reporting might damage business relationships. One restaurant pulls its ads immediately. We can't afford controversy, the owner tells the Tribune's ad sales team. Elite Service trains half the city. We can't alienate them. A second restaurant calls 2 days later. Same message, different wording, same result. Brandon receives his own pressure. A settlement offer arrives April 10th. Confidential settlement proposal, Elite Service Standards, LLC v. Brandon Foster. Terms, payment to Mr. Foster, $250,000. Joint public statement. Misunderstanding regarding training materials context. All parties agree to mutual non-disparagement. Removal of training materials from public domain. Case closed with no admission of wrongdoing. Offer expires April 17th, 2024. Brandon's lawyers review it. Their advice is unanimous. Take it. It's a strong offer, his lead attorney says. You avoid a lengthy legal battle. The restaurant's reputation stays intact. $250,000 is nothing to sneeze at. You walk away clean. Brandon sits with the offer for 2 days. Reads it repeatedly. $250,000. An apology of sorts. An end to the stress. He thinks about Maria Torres, the housekeeper who saved for months to take her daughter somewhere nice, who was told the patio was closed when it wasn't, who won't speak publicly because she cleans houses for people who use Elite Service training in their businesses. He thinks about James Walker, construction worker, turned away from a meal after a 10-hour shift because he had drywall dust on his pants. He thinks about Devin Martinez, law student, told no tables were available while watching white couples get seated. He thinks about the 12 people documented and all the people who weren't documented, who never complained, who just accepted that certain spaces weren't for them. On April 12th, Brandon calls his lawyer. No settlement, we keep going. Brandon, they're going to fight this hard. Let them. I have the truth. That has to count for something. But Elite Service has one final card. On April 13th, Richard Caldwell releases a video statement. High-quality production, expensive suit, warm office background with leather-bound books and family photos, every detail calculated. Caldwell looks directly into the camera. His voice is measured, reasonable, almost hurt. I've spent 30 years in hospitality, he says. I've trained over 10,000 restaurant professionals. These accusations don't just attack my company, they attack an entire industry's commitment to service excellence. He pauses, lets the moment breathe. Our guest profiling matrix isn't about discrimination. It's about understanding customer expectations, about helping staff provide appropriate service. Every luxury brand in the world uses similar assessment tools. That's not bigotry, that's business. Another pause. He looks genuinely wounded. To Mr. Foster in the Charleston Tribune, I've built my reputation on integrity. I will not stand by while false allegations destroy decades of work. We're prepared to defend ourselves vigorously, but I'd prefer dialogue, understanding, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to serve our customers well. Kuyen Panhoy, compliance. The video is masterful. It makes elite service sound reasonable, makes Caldwell sound like a victim, makes anyone questioning them sound like they're attacking business itself. The video gets shared by Charleston hospitality industry groups. Comments appear. Finally, someone standing up to cancel culture. Elite service trains professionals, period. One incident blown out of proportion. The narrative shifts. Elite service plays the long game. Despite Justin's commitment, the pressure doesn't stop. The week of April 8th through 14th feels endless. 4 servers quit the Sterling Room, not because of Brandon, because they're terrified, because lawsuits feel inevitable, because they have rent to pay and kids to feed and can't afford to be collateral damage in someone else's fight for justice. The restaurant feels different now, heavier. Every shift carries tension. Staff members speak in careful whispers. Customers come in 2 types, those avoiding the place entirely and those who come specifically to see where it happened. Neither group is comfortable. Neither group is welcome for the right reasons. Reservations drop 15%. Anonymous online reviews appear. Too political. Used to be about food, now it's about drama. Taking sides ruins restaurants. Brandon sits in his office late on April 13th. The settlement offer is still on his desk. $250,000. He picks it up, reads it again. Peace, safety, an end to this. Claire finds him there at 11 p.m. You're thinking about taking it? It's not a question. Brandon doesn't deny it. Maybe closing this location is the answer. Start over somewhere else. Somewhere this didn't happen. And the other 42 restaurants using elite system? Silence. Mr. Foster, if you close, if you settle, if you walk away, elite service wins. They keep training people to discriminate. They keep collecting $300,000 monthly, and every manager they trained keeps doing exactly what Justin did. I know, Brandon's voice is barely audible. But I asked people to come forward, to tell their stories. Now they're targets. Maria Torres might lose clients because wealthy people don't want controversy. James Walker's supervisor asked him to keep things quiet after his face appeared in the Tribune. Devin's fine. He's a law student. He can handle this. But the others? He sets down the paper. Looks at Claire. What right do I have to ask working people to sacrifice their livelihoods for my principles? Claire has no good answer. The next morning, Brandon drives to Maria Torres's neighborhood. Small houses with chain-link fences. Kids riding bikes, basketball hoops in driveways. He parks outside her address, sits there for 10 minutes working up the courage to knock. Maria opens the door. Recognition crosses her face, then wariness. Mr. Foster. Miss Torres, I'm sorry to come unannounced. I wanted to talk about the case. I can't testify. Her voice is firm, final. I told my story to the reporter, that's all I can do. I understand. Do you? Maria's eyes are tired, older than her 34 years. I clean houses for people like Trevor Hayes, rich people in the historic district, people who know each other, who talk. If I become the woman who causes problems, who files lawsuits, who makes noise, I lose clients. That's how this works. You can afford to fight. I can't. The words hit like physical blows. Thank you for trying, Maria continues, for caring enough to try. But don't ask me to sacrifice my daughter's stability for justice. Justice doesn't pay my rent. It doesn't buy groceries. It doesn't keep the lights on. She closes the door, polite but absolute. Brandon stands on her porch understanding the true cost of what he's asking, the privilege of fighting back, the luxury of principles when you're not living paycheck to paycheck. He drives home in silence, sits in his parked car for 20 minutes, pulls out his phone, opens his email. The settlement offer is still there. He types a new message. Subject line, Re-settlement discussion. Dear Mr. Whitmore and Elite Service Legal Team, I have carefully considered your settlement offer. My response is... His phone buzzes. Unknown number. Text message. Mr. Foster, my name is Devin Martinez. I'm the law student who was turned away March 3rd. I'm not scared of Elite's lawyers. I know how to research. I know how to organize. And I've been finding the others. We can fight back together. Are you still in... Brandon stares at the text for a full minute. Then he deletes his draft email, closes the settlement offer, types back one word, yes. Devin Martinez, no relation to Sarah the journalist, is 23 years old. Third-year law student at Charleston School of Law, civil rights concentration, and completely done with accepting injustice as inevitable. He calls Brandon the next morning. Mr. Foster, I've been following every article. I know what elite's trying to do. Silence victims through intimidation and financial threats. But here's what they're missing. I'm not a victim. I'm a plaintiff. And I have time, research skills, and a professor who specializes in discrimination law. Your professor is interested? Professor Catherine Wright. She handled the Greenville hospitality discrimination case in 2019. $2 million settlement. She's been waiting for something like this to happen again. Brandon feels something he hasn't felt in weeks. Actual hope. Devin continues. I'm reaching out to everyone who shared their story publicly, building a network. We're stronger together than scattered. Elite can threaten one person with $50,000, but 12 people? That's a class action. That changes everything. By April 15th, Devin has connected with 8 people. They start a group chat, share experiences, compare dates and details. The pattern becomes overwhelming when laid side by side. Same scripts, same coded language, same polite redirection, different restaurants, but all trained by elite service standards. Sarah publishes another article on April 16th. This time, the comment section explodes. 68 responses by evening, people from all over Charleston sharing similar stories. At James Construction, February 12th, Sterling Room, told dining room full. Watched white couple walk in 5 minutes later, seated immediately. At Maria Homes, I couldn't speak before, but I'm done being quiet. It happened to me too. February 17th. At Devon Law Student, March 3rd, told no tables. They seated 3 white couples right in front of me. I stood there and watched. I'm fighting back. A hashtag emerges organically. Hash dress code or discrimination. It trends locally, then regionally, then nationally. TikTok videos about the case start appearing. One reenactment, an actor in a hoodie, another actor pointing and demanding removal, hits 500,000 views in 24 hours. The comments are savage. Imagine complaining about someone's hoodie, then finding out he owns the building. Trevor Hayes really said kick him out to the owner. The way his knees buckled when he found out. City Councilwoman Andrea Taylor sees the Tribune articles over breakfast on April 17th. Sees constituent emails flooding her office. Sees a pattern that can't be ignored. She makes a phone call. Mr. Foster, this is Councilwoman Taylor. I'm opening a formal inquiry into elite service standards business practices. If these allegations are substantiated, they shouldn't be licensed to operate in Charleston. Brandon nearly drops his phone. You can review their business license. I can require compliance audits, review discrimination complaints, suspend operations if violations are proven. But I need evidence, real, documented evidence. Can you provide that? Yes, ma'am. All of it. Then I'm scheduling a public hearing. April 18th, 6 p.m. City Hall. Elite service will be required to respond under oath. So will anyone else who wants to testify. Can you be there? Absolutely. The media returns. What was fading from headlines reignites. NBC affiliate does a segment. Local news runs daily updates. This isn't just a restaurant story anymore. It's a city accountability moment. 12 incidents, 12 people who stayed quiet because the system made them feel powerless. But when they spoke together, that's when the cracks started showing. If this has ever happened to you, if you've been judged, dismissed, or told you don't belong because of how you looked, drop a comment below. You're not imagining it. Your experience matters. This is how change starts. The email arrives at 3:14 a.m. Sarah wakes to her phone buzzing insistently. Opens the message, finds a link to an unlisted Vimeo account, password protected, but the anonymous source provided credentials. She logs in. 12 training modules appear. Professional production, elite service standards branding, and Module 7, maintaining premium ambiance. Sarah watches it at her kitchen table. Coffee grows cold beside her. The sun rises outside, and by the time the video ends, she knows this is the evidence that changes everything. The instructor is Richard Caldwell himself. Expensive suit, warm professional smile, standing in a well-lit studio like he's teaching a college course. Excellence in hospitality isn't just about food quality, Caldwell says to the camera. It's about consistency, and consistency requires discernment in guest management. Cut to PowerPoint slides. The guest profiling matrix appears on screen. You'll learn to assess guest compatibility in the first 30 seconds. Clothing, posture, speech patterns, accessories, demographics. These indicators tell you whether a guest aligns with your establishment's brand positioning. The word brand does extraordinary work in that sentence. Caldwell continues, voice still warm and reasonable. Some guests may not be ideal fits for your particular establishment's atmosphere. That's not discrimination, that's curation. Fine dining requires a certain level of sophistication. Not everyone possesses that sophistication. Your job is to guide them appropriately. Sarah pauses the video, rewinds, plays it again. Not everyone possesses that sophistication. The video moves to specific examples. This is where it gets damning. Urban fashion styles, athletic wear, work clothing, these often signal guests who may not fully appreciate fine dining's nuances. Heavy accents or non-standard English can indicate guests who might feel uncomfortable in premium environments. Your role is to redirect them toward more appropriate venues where they'll have a better experience. Urban fashion, non-standard English. The code words barely qualify as coded. When redirecting these guests, always frame it as serving their comfort. Use phrases like, "For your enjoyment, I'd recommend," or "You might be more comfortable in our casual dining area." This positions you as helpful rather than exclusionary. The guest leaves thinking you did them a favor. Sarah stops the video, sits in silence for 30 seconds, then calls Brandon immediately. "I have it. The training video. Caldwell teaching discrimination step by step. It's all documented. Every word, every technique. Can you prove it came from elite service?" "Better. I had a tech expert analyze the file metadata." Sarah's friend, digital forensics specialist, examines the video files that afternoon. The results are devastating. File properties. Created January 12, 2023. Copyright Elite Service Standards, LLC Original Uploader, R. Caldwell. Download history, 43 unique IP addresses accessed Module 7 date range, January 2023, March 2024. Sarah cross-references the IP addresses with Charleston business licenses. Every single one matches a restaurant in Charleston's upscale dining sector. Every restaurant currently under contract with Elite Service downloaded Maintaining Premium Ambiance. 43 restaurants, 14 months. Systematic training in how to discriminate without using explicitly illegal language. Sarah creates a glossary from the video transcript. Elite Service Code language, asterisk, urban fashion, =, black customers, asterisk, non-standard English, =, immigrants, non-white customers, asterisk, lack sophistication, =, working class, asterisk, guest comfort, =, we don't want them here, asterisk, brand positioning, =, maintaining white wealthy clientele. She sends everything to Professor Catherine Wright, waits for legal analysis. Professor Wright calls back in 90 minutes. Her voice is steel. "This is Title II Civil Rights Act violation territory. The coded language is legally actionable. The systematic training creates an environment of intentional discrimination. And the financial structure, Elite charging restaurants for this training and rewarding them for compliance, that establishes conspiracy. This is prosecutable." Sarah publishes on April 13th. The headline writes itself. Training videos reveal coded racism. Elite service standards taught restaurants how to discriminate legally. The article includes asterisk video clips with transcript excerpts, asterisk full code language, glossary asterisk, metadata analysis proving 43 restaurant downloads asterisk, Professor Wright's legal opinion, asterisk, financial breakdown, $8, $500 a month x 43 restaurants, x 14 months =, $5.1 million in discrimination training revenue. By 6 p.m., South Carolina Attorney General announces investigation. By 9 p.m., 6 restaurants publicly terminate Elite service contracts. By midnight, the story is national news. This is where most stories end. The powerful threaten lawsuits. The vulnerable stay quiet. But not this time. Stay with me. What happens next is exactly why receipts matter, why documentation matters, why refusing to stay silent matters. April 18th, 6 p.m., Charleston City Hall Council Chambers. 200 people packed into seats designed for 150. Media cameras line the back wall. The air vibrates with anticipation. Councilwoman Andrea Taylor calls the hearing to order. We're here to determine whether Elite Service Standards LLC violated Charleston's anti-discrimination ordinances and whether their business license should be suspended or revoked. Richard Caldwell sits at the respondent table. 3 lawyers in expensive suits beside him. They look confident, prepared, like they've been through this before. Testimony order, Brandon Foster first, then Devin Martinez, then James Walker, then Caldwell. Brandon takes the witness chair, raises his right hand, swears to tell the truth. Mr. Foster, Andrea begins, please describe the events of March 15th in your own words. Brandon's voice is steady, quiet, but it carries through the chamber. I was judged in 15 seconds, by my hoodie, by my work boots, not by my reservation, not by my behavior, by assumptions about who deserves to occupy certain spaces. He pauses, looks at the packed gallery. But this isn't about me. I own 8 restaurants. I can walk into any dining room in this city and get seated. What about James Walker, Maria Torres, Devin Martinez? They don't have that privilege. They walked into establishments that gladly took their money but didn't want their presence. Another pause. The room is completely silent. Respect isn't earned by what you wear. It's owed to everyone who walks through the door. The gallery erupts in applause. Andrea gavels for order. Devin testifies next. I'm 23, law student. I wore jeans and a backpack because I came from class. I was told every table was reserved. Then I watched 3 white couples walk in and get seated immediately. I stood there. I watched. This isn't sensitivity. This is discrimination, James Walker testifies. His voice shakes but holds firm. I work construction. 10-hour days. I came in hungry, wanted a nice meal, still had dust on my work pants. They looked at me like I'd wandered into the wrong building. Made me feel like I didn't deserve to eat somewhere nice. Like working with your hands means you don't belong in certain places. Maria Torres submits a written statement, read by Andrea. 3 anonymous victims follow, voices disguised by audio modulation. Each story follows the same pattern. Different dates, same humiliation. Then Richard Caldwell takes the stand. His lawyer speaks first. Our client categorically denies teaching discrimination. The training materials emphasize service excellence. Any individual manager's misapplication is not Elite Services' responsibility. Andrea cuts in. Mr. Caldwell, your training video uses the phrase urban fashion styles. Define that for us. Caldwell shifts slightly. It refers to contemporary metropolitan fashion trends. Is urban a synonym for black customers? Absolutely not. That's a willful misinterpretation. Then explain why 12 non-white customers were redirected using exact scripts from your training manual. Caldwell has no answer. His lawyer whispers urgently. Caldwell clears his throat. Our training helps staff understand customer service optimization. That's not discrimination. It's hospitality best practices. Best practices, Andrea repeats flatly. Mr. Caldwell, are you aware that in 2019 you left Grandeur Hotels following a discrimination settlement? The chamber goes silent. Caldwell's lawyer stands. That matter was resolved confidentially with no admission of wrongdoing. This isn't a court of law, counselor. It's a license review. I'm allowed to consider relevant history. Andrea looks at Caldwell. $50,000 paid to 3 black employees. Allegations of systematic mistreatment. Sound familiar? Caldwell's lawyer reads a prepared statement. The Grandeur matter involved employment disputes, not customer service. It was resolved amicably. Elite Service Standards has trained thousands of hospitality professionals with 0 complaints until this coordinated campaign. We maintain our innocence and believe these allegations ignore context and business realities. Justin Clark testifies last. I thought I was following industry standards. Elite Service trained me to assess guests based on appearance. They called it quality control, brand protection. I was wrong. I hurt people, but I didn't invent this system. I was taught it, and 42 other managers were taught the same thing. The hearing runs 4 hours, testimony, evidence, cross-examination. At 10 p.m., Andrea calls for a vote. All in favor of suspending Elite Service Standards business license for 6 months pending compliance review and mandatory anti-discrimination retraining, 6 hands rise. On abstention, the gavel falls. 6 months later, October 2024, Elite Service Standards files for bankruptcy. 38 of 43 restaurants terminated contracts. Richard Caldwell faces 6 civil lawsuits from former clients and employees. His name becomes a cautionary tale. The Sterling Room reopens after brief closure for comprehensive staff retraining. Brandon develops Dignity First Hospitality, his own training program, free to any Charleston restaurant that wants it. 15 establishments immediately sign up. Mia Thompson becomes assistant manager. A whistleblower protection policy is established, the first in Charleston's hospitality industry. Justin Clark keeps his job. People deserve second chances, Brandon says, if they're willing to do the real work of change. City Council passes Resolution 2024-156. All restaurants must submit anti-discrimination policies for annual license renewal. Anonymous complaint hotline established. Mandatory compliance audits. Devin Martinez passes the bar exam, joins a civil rights law firm. Still texts Brandon occasionally, "Thanks for not backing down." James Walker gets promoted to site supervisor. Maria Torres receives $15,000 from the civil settlement. She takes her daughter to the Sterling Room. Brandon personally seats them at table 13. Trevor and Vanessa Hayes leave Charleston quietly. New city, new start. But the internet remembers. Their story follows them. Brandon walks through the Sterling Room on a Friday night, still wearing his gray hoodie and work boots. Every table full. Every guest treated identically. A construction worker sits at table 11 with his family. Work clothes, kids in soccer uniforms. Their server smiles genuinely. "Welcome to the Sterling Room. We're so glad you're here." Sometimes the man in the hoodie owns the building, but more importantly, every person deserves to be treated like they do. Respect isn't earned, it's owed. If this story meant something to you, if you've lived it, witnessed it, or refused to accept it, leave a comment. Share your experience. That's how 12 Voices became a movement. That's how one night became citywide change. Hit subscribe if you believe dignity isn't negotiable. More stories like this coming soon, because silence was never the answer.